Now, answering your questions about the law and legal issues. This is Legal Break with attorney Gary Bruce.
Hello there and welcome. Welcome, Gary. Good to see you.
Good morning again.
Here we go. We have a question today. Let's pull it up here. Gary, my insurance company is not treating me right. I've paid them premiums for years. What are my rights?
Well, it's a good question. It comes up. Hopefully we won't have any ice storms this winter, but you know, that's something that even comes up when a limb falls on your car or your home, or you know, these things come up all the time. So what are your rights? Well, they're determined by the contract. And this would be what we call a contract of adhesion, meaning you're stuck with it, right? So you don't really get to negotiate with an insurance company over their terms, but you got to read your contract. So make sure you get a copy of your contract when you buy insurance. So a lot of times they don't send them to you, but you need to know what they are for a couple of reasons. One, it tells you what your rights are, and two, the big right you need to know about is notice. When do you have to report it? How do you have to report it? And how much time do you get to file a lawsuit? There's been some confusion over the years of whether these contracts can reduce a statute of limitations, meaning usually you'd have 4 years to sue over a contract or 6, but sometimes the contract says you only get 1. So you got to know your rights from the document, and that's the first thing to know. The second thing is, if they're not treating you right, the good news in Georgia at least is that there's a statute that deals with what your rights are and how you can enforce them as a policyholder. So it requires a writing, it requires notice, it requires giving the insurance company 60 days, which is a long time, but not really in the scheme of things. And they have to be able to then address your issues promptly. If they don't, then you can file a lawsuit and ask for attorney's fees. You can ask for penalties, including punitive damages that are set out in the statute. And that's the enforcement arm that Georgia law at least allows. There's not a corresponding statute like that in Alabama, unfortunately, but the contract exists and gives you rights to make sure it's paid right, because you do pay premiums and you ought to get what you bargained for.
Yeah, Gary, is this something that happens often?
Oh yeah. Yeah, and it applies even in like your property damage cases. If the other guy's insurance isn't paying for your car properly or lowballing you there are rights in Georgia where you can sue for bad faith in handling your property damage case. So yes, there are rights. Call a lawyer if you're stuck and you're not getting treated fairly. You do have rights, but they have to be set up properly and timely.
Okay, all right. Thank you. Thank you so very much, Gary. And we'll see you on the very next Legal Break.